Hi. I guess I'm gonna try to make a Captain Obvious video about what I meant for the quantum financial system because all these grifters, it's my fault. I gave Greg Hallett and Charlie Ward and David Mahoney access to my Google storage or whatever, so they could go through and see things. This is before I started seeing what a bunch of idiots they were. Um, because I was looking for family, and I remember Charlie Ward came with Shannon in 1992, before Yathu Yundi came, and implied he was like he was playing the role of the brother-in-law. So I thought he was family. That's why I was so blind at first. You know how, like, usually I would have been a lot more discerning and been like, oh, who's this guy? you know? But because he'd been there in 1992 as my supposed brother-in-law, I was an idiot who fell for it. And I am hopefully learning my lesson a bit. But anyways, so these guys made up a whole bunch of baloney about what I meant about a quantum financial system, which I even changed the name because they mucked it up so badly and did such a idiotic take on it because I didn't explain it to them. They just went through all my pictures and screenshots that I was saving for myself, for my memories. But basically, I'm just going to be Captain Obvious. Right now, what we're living in is extortion, and they take all of our money through taxes. But that's extortion and theft. So I thought, how do we keep our roads and hospitals and all these kinds of things uh, up to date and free for us, but without extortion? So the reason I called it the quantum financial system was because I thought, well, because we'd all be involved, but through our own free will, and so things will naturally work out. So, say we need money for roads, then we'll have like a little spot on the computer that says roads, and we'll take our finances and we'll donate to roads, right? So, once all the roads are done, you're like, oh shit, well, what's the road crew supposed to do if the roads are always perfect and there's all these months and months with no problems, like, what am I supposed to do with all my free time? Well, you can do other things, like take care and develop your own land, because you're free. You're not under pressure anymore. You don't have all these obligations and taxes and all these jackasses threatening to kick you off your own land if you don't comply. So all that free time on God's green earth with God-given land, you can be building your own stuff. And yeah, so one day we're contributing to roads because a we need something fixed, or we decided we want a new road. So when the problem arises, then we put up an announcement. We're like, hey guys, we need your help. We need to build this road. Can everybody contribute a little bit? And then everything be completely transparent so we see how much the cost is going to be. And we'll have a bunch of different companies put in their bids, right? So we'll be like, okay, it's going to cost this much for the concrete, this much for this much for that. And then we'll say, okay, like a rally, sort of, for like badminton rally. So round one, we see who's gonna do it, whose products or whatever. And then round two, we narrow it down until we find the best guy for the job. And then we start the project. And we paid everything on an as needed basis. So um, if they say we will do the job for this price, then we don't give them any extra after. We don't give them this big, huge pot with billions of dollars that they can just spend freely on all this other baloney that's unnecessary. We just fill up the pot when it's empty. So if the pot's empty, then we fill it up. So let's say we needed some security, then we would, because crime had gone up. It's just like The Sims. So if we need more security, then we'd be like, okay, I don't know what's going on in this town, but we need some security because there's been some break-ins for some stupid, idiotic reason, which shouldn't happen anymore once everyone has their own land and their own starts building their own homes and stuff. So we would all contribute to where the need is. So, well, this town lately, just this one small town, needs help. So that town would be like, okay, our roads are perfect, blah blah blah. Maybe we should donate to our security for a little bit. And then some things that we need all the time, like our hospitals. We won't need these in the future, but for now, while we're weaning from the financial system, we would donate to the hospitals, but we would donate for things that we want, like natural foods or natural healing and sound healing and massages, things like this that actually heal people, and instead of drugs that basically get you addicted for life, you never get cured, blah blah blah. So we won't be volunteering our money for things like that. We'd be volunteering our money for, oh, I know this works, so I want to make sure there's enough in the funds for people to be getting a massage or be getting some aromatherapy or whatever. Get some. We'll all be having communities to grow our food together because you'll have all this free time. Remember, if you're not following this clown show, everything they're doing, then we're all going to have a lot more free time because what they're doing now is they basically creating problems that aren't there so they can keep your time and money tied up and all your attention into solving problems that shouldn't even be in existence. So once we remove ourselves from watching the clown show, and this means every single, from the top all the way to the bottom, it means stop listening to narcissists in your personal life, stop catering to them, stop catering to their temper tantrums and their manipulation and their threats to ruin your reputation and all these things. You gotta stop catering to that. Because then you'll have all this free time to create for yourself. And you're thinking, oh, okay, well, how do I get help to build my house? Well, if you're a decent, nice person, um, just ask your friends. Well, what about the people that are kind of like left in the background and never get help? Well, we can at the start have a fund for that. Be like, okay, well, there's these people that have been shy or introverts the whole life and they haven't built those networks yet. So the same way we contribute to the roads out of a free will choice because we're compelled by our compassion, we would donate to their project. And this is probably going to be the first like major thing we're doing is housing, because we shouldn't all be living like, we shouldn't be able to hear your neighbor at night close their car door. We should all have at least like, you know, 5 to 10 acres per family So we can do our own gardening. If you want to have a band, if you want to sing, have your fire. As long as you're not too loud, you're not going to bug your neighbors if you've got 10 acres and you're not putting on an amp. If you're sitting there with your guitar and your friends and you're just singing, you're not going to bug anyone. Because the way this society is designed right now, we're all like shoved together like in sardine cans. Of course, we're going to be bothering each other. Everyone's in your business. We're all too close to each other. And if we were all spread out nicely, we wouldn't even know each other's business. And we'd be waiting to be invited over for the jam or whatever, right? Say, hey man, I can have a jam tonight, because the last thing you're worried about is bothering your neighbors because you want to invite them. And also, if you're not tied up in work, like there's slave jobs like there are now, you're going to be able to stay up all night sometimes and be like, woohoo, let's have like once a week or once a month have a massive potluck party. And then in the meantime, you're thinking, well, what about all this? What about all that? What about Starbucks and all that stuff? If you really want to keep it going, then you'll have to make it one of the contribution things to pay people to go there. But long story short, what I actually meant in the big picture, the main goal is to be kind of like the Amish community, without the religion, without all the rules and stuff, because that's still very controlling and government like, but to be sorry, more voluntary, like, oh man, so and so needs some help, let's just go do it, and we won't need this point system. This is just a weaning from the monetary system, a weaning from the government systems and all that stuff. So it would be more like the Amish community, without the religion, without all the controlling, without any weird, like, if you want to move out, just frickin' move out. But the rest of society has got each other's backs in that same way, eventually, because it won't even breed narcissists anymore. It'll be breed like when we did the wine ninjas, for example, so many of us, what we'd do is we'd take a bottle of wine and some plants and flowers and maybe like a new towel set or some perfume or something, and we put it all in the bag, and then we'd sneak into someone's yard that was in the group and we'd drop it off, and then we'd run away and nobody ever knew who did it. And then we would see how happy that person was, because it'd be mostly like someone who really we knew they needed a break, they needed some pampering. And we'd be like drop it off, and I'd be in the car. Oh, I'm almost cried thinking about it. And I'd be in the car, I'd be crying, because it feels so good giving, and it feels so good making someone happy, even if they don't know it was you that did it. It really feels good. Like, a lot of us would like drop off the bag, get in the car, and then we'd be like, just a sense of joy just came over us. It was like, it was unexpected, because most of the giving in society today is obligation of some kind. Like, oh, you're only giving because it's that person's birthday or it's Christmas or something. But this was giving, like, we were looking in the group as like, hey man, that girl's got like 3 full-time jobs, 2 kids, some slack guy that doesn't even help her at all, or the other way around, this is a single dad, nobody's helping him, he gets no encouragement or support. So we would just drop stuff off unanimously. They didn't know who did it, which was the best part, because then you're not like stroking egos, and it's not manipulative, because when you know who gave you the gift giver, it's quite often like a manipulation for the future, like, oh well, now you owe me, kind of thing, right? So why I call it quantum is because it'd be like a pay it forward kind of society, and you wouldn't know where the gift come from, so no one's there going to be able to manipulate you with money, holding money, dangling it over your head, or holding money back, because that's what most of what money has become. Like I call money the first papers, please, like the first discrimination tool. So we do need it still to wean for like the next couple generations or whatever. So this is kind of what I was hoping to do to start. So keep the cash for the cash, and then all the like online things are for sort of like the it sounds like the social credit system, but it won't be, because it won't be a government doing it. It will be the people choosing what we want to contribute to. It won't be like an invisible couple of old geezers that are freaking psychopaths. It would be us, because it's all transparent. So I don't even care what Bob is contributing to. I don't know. I just look online and I see my little umbrella of things to pick from. And today I'm picking this. And also, you don't have a couple of people creating problems aren't there, because the rest of the time is free time to build your own home, build your garden, build your band, build your art, follow your dreams, basically. Like what I said, is it's time to go from a system of duress to a system of inspiration. So when you get up in the morning, you're not going to a job. Eventually, you're not going to a job. You're doing your own stuff at home. You're getting your things done, because most of us are going to want to spread out. We're not supposed to be all closed in like this. So as we spread out, we're going to be concentrating on our homes and things. And then once you got all your stuff done, especially with men, the men will be like kind of restless and bored. So they're going to want to be expertise in other areas. You might not even have a need. Like you might not need to do a new road project, but you might get together with your buddies and be like, hey man, let's build a new like kick-ass resource center or something for the kids. Because instead of schools, we can have resource centers where we go and look through information, but without a teacher there, without indoctrination, just information. You choose your own information. And resources, like you choose your own resources. Like, oh man, I don't have any pottery tools at home, but it'd be really cool to just go do some pottery. So we'll have like a pottery area in the resource center, and like a pastel arts area and a woodworking area, just like school, except for you won't have indoctrination. You'd have like a guy that actually is just there to teach woodworking, and or a whole bunch of guys like volunteering to teach the woodworking, and not 24/7, or not 7 days a week or 5 days a week like school, but would put on like a little class once a month or whatever, or put on a class for 2 weeks, and then everybody applies their skills for a couple weeks. So those teachers that volunteered, they only worked for those 2 weeks. And then if somebody wants to up their skills, we might go to those guys again and go, hey man, your class was so kick-ass last time. Can we do another workshop? And then a couple months down the road, we'd pool those guys together again, and they'd help us teach another bunch of classes or teach a bunch more people. And we could do this online. We could do a lot of it hands-on at our resource centers, but I hope I'm making sense. Anyways, so the quantum financial system is absolutely nothing to do with what Charlie Ward and that Kim Goyen and all these other grifters from hell are making up. They completely have no idea what my intention was when I started in the first place. So my intention was to basically wean from the financial system and start just helping each other out. Like the very, very best resources right now would be um, Larkin Rose and Mark Passio would be excellent way to start to look at things. And then there's the Anastasia books, the Ringing Cedars of Russia. If you read through that series, excellent way to like start making eco villages and things. And then if you wanted to look into permaculture, lazy permaculture, and start looking into the way that different foods. I'll post a video about the way foods heal again later. But yeah, basically it's time to take your energy and thoughts and resources towards your dreams and your future and stop watching the clown show because all our energy and attention is focused towards damage control because you guys, we all gave these idiots too much power to do damage, and now everything's about damage control from the narcissists. And we have to just turn away from them and start pooling all our energy towards our dreams and hopes for the future. I hope that makes sense. All right, thank you. I hope I know how to turn this off. Doo-doo-doo. Oops, no, let's see. I'm just learning this. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay. See you next time. Love from Melissa Mouse.